A sudden spark of light caught Jordan's attention as he stepped onto the construction site. The clang of metal and hiss of welding filling the air. He paused, drawn not by the noise but by a figure in blue coveralls, gloves, and a mask, working with a precision that made every movement look like a dance. There was something in her focus, the way she leaned over the metal beam that made time slow. Her helmet lifted for a brief moment and Jordan's breath caught. Her smile was familiar, haunting in its subtle curve. And her eyes that had haunted his memory for years, looked up and met his gaze for just a heartbeat. Isabella, he whispered in disbelief, a name lost in the shadows of 20 years. The pendant around her neck, a small carved piece of ebony shaped like a lily, trembled slightly as she adjusted it. The pendant he had made for his daughter's 5th birthday, a gift that had been lost, along with the life he thought he had destroyed forever. "Mr. Clarke, are you all right?" A voice called, slicing through the moment. His assistant, Lydia, stood behind him, concern etched across her face. Jordan didn't answer, his eyes fixed on the woman who moved with effortless grace, unaware of the storm. She had ignited in the man who owned the very building she helped construct. "Lydia," he rasped, voice rough, "find out everything about her. Every detail. Her history, where she's from, everything." The ride back to Clarke Global headquarters was quiet, filled only with the steady hum of the city and the pounding of his own heart. He barely registered the honking of taxis or the distant wail of sirens. Once inside his glass-walled office, overlooking Manhattan like a kingdom beneath him, the reality of the encounter hit him fully. He had searched 20 years for a family he had lost, and now, in the blink of an eye, a shadow of that past stood before him, carrying a piece of the daughter he had never truly known. Memories surged forward unbidden. He saw a garden. Sunlight dappled on the grass. 5-year-old Isabella clinging to her mother, tears streaming down her small face. "I don't want to go, Mommy," she had wailed, refusing her first day at school. Her mother, the woman he had loved, had sat beside her, stroking her hair, trying to soothe the impossible. Jordan had approached with a small box, the ebony lily pendant resting inside. "For my bravest girl," he had said softly. "A promise that Daddy will always be with you." He fastened the pendant around her neck, kissed her forehead, and for the first time, she went into school without tears. Her mother's smile, though, had never reached her eyes, a quiet warning he hadn't understood then. 20 years had passed. 20 years of regrets, and what-ifs buried under the daily grind of business and corporate battles. And now, all of it came rushing back in a single moment. A single glance across a crowded construction site. Jordan sank into his chair, the city sprawling below him like a chessboard. His daughter was here, alive, and he had been oblivious, chasing success while losing the life that mattered most. The following days blurred into one another. Calls were made, records checked, and slowly, Jordan pieced together the life Isabella had led. She had become a skilled welder, admired by her peers, working quietly under a subcontractor, carrying the pendant he had made, unaware of the story behind it. Finally, he decided he could no longer wait. Dressed simply, leaving the title and power at the door, he returned to the site alone. He waited among the shadows, watching her move among the workers, laughing with a seasoned foreman named Ben who had been her mentor, guiding her in small steps toward her dream. Lunch came, and she sat with her friends under the shade of a large tent. Jordan approached, heart in his throat, the years of absence pressing down on him. "Good afternoon," he said gently. The site went still. Workers rose in surprise. "Everything's fine, sir," Isabella said, masking her nervousness. Jordan's eyes fell to the pendant. "That's a beautiful piece," he said, voice catching. "It means something, doesn't it?" Her fingers brushed the carved lily. "Yes, sir. It was a gift from my father. The only one I have." Each word was a hammer to his heart. He had been absent, but he would make it right. The story of lost years, the absence of a father, could no longer continue unspoken. 2 days passed. Isabella returned to her routine, unaware of the emotional storm building just a few blocks away, behind the glass walls of Manhattan. On the 3rd day, Jordan sent his assistant with a polite invitation. "Would you come to my office tomorrow? I need to speak with you." Isabella's mind raced. She considered ignoring it. but curiosity and a quiet inner voice urged her forward. She called to confirm and found herself whisked to the towering glass and steel headquarters, a world so alien to her that each step echoed with awe. Inside, Lydia guided her to a pair of sofas. Jordan, standing by the floor-to-ceiling window, turned slowly, eyes soft but intense. "Thank you for coming, Isabella. Please sit." She obeyed, hands clasped, heart racing. Silence filled the room, heavy but not uncomfortable. Jordan gestured to the pendant around her neck. "We need to talk about this," he said finally. "About who you are. About what you've always meant to me. About the years I let slip away." For hours they spoke of regrets, of love lost, of missed opportunities, of dreams carried quietly through the decades. Each word stitched a bridge between the father who had failed and the daughter who had grown without him. Tears were shed, apologies offered, and slowly a fragile trust began to form. By the end of the afternoon, the weight of the past was still present, but hope had taken root. Jordan knew it would be a long journey to rebuild what was lost, but the first steps had been taken. Isabella walked out of the office not with anger or fear, but with curiosity and the faintest glimmer of understanding. And for Jordan, seeing her safe, strong and alive, was a promise that the future, while uncertain, was finally theirs to shape together.